So the real next question is, right, Salakia for the cut of the video. So the real next question is, when, honestly speaking, when was it first in writing? Because we know WAW was write as a kind of a low I, or a short L, a high L, or a low, you know what I mean? A I writing the square text as after the ancient Hebrew, which was given the symbols, which makes up the consonant letters, right? So this is why I want to go into, because the question I ask here, who created the vowels? It says no single person created the vowels, rather the Greek invented the first true alphabet, adding vowel symbols to consonants only. What? Phoenician script around what? 8th century BC, repurposing unused Phoenician consonants like Aleph or Alpha, Salak, or like Aleph to Alpha, to represent vowel sounds, making writing clear, paving the way for modern alphabets, which is one of the main purpose of Mr. Eliezer, which we mentioned before. This is why it goes back to who was the ones to change it up to make the language a little bit more modernized, which the purpose and the language, meaning the Hebrew alphabet, which was not Hebrew language, which was not spoken by our ancestors back then. It wasn't these Yiddish songs and rounded songs as it was back then, which we identify more so. If we could go back, it was directly clear stating that the letters weren't used. The letters W was more used especially for roots and for names. Let's read again. So it is clear to say W was a prominent consonant in Proto-Semitic, used in roots and what? Names. Example, wa. See? It was a verbal root. So it was more used. Why? Because it was more original to the Hebrew ancestors, or the Hebrew language in itself. Which is how we know for a fact that given the name Yahweh, which has the letter W-A, it was supposed to have that was W-A, which is why the tetragrammaton of the letter, which is YHWH, which precedes Yahweh, not Yahweh, and not all the other songs which you try to provide. Because the lesson in which you try to break down had no evidence of the name being Yahuwah, rather than you saying that the name is Yahuwah. And by the information provided here, we can easily go in as an example in Exodus, providing the information, chapter 3 and verses 15. Let's read, and we'll go down into it also. Is Exodus 3 and verse 15. And power said moreover unto Moses, thus shalt thou say unto the children of Israel, he is making it clear, Yahweh, power of your fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, and the power of Jacob, had sent me unto you. This is my name forever. What is his name? Yahweh, which is why in the Bible they change it to the word Lord, which we could see it here. And we can show you. It says, this is my name forever, and this is my memorial unto all generations. Now look at this. Let's go into the cross-reference first. And let's see the information being clear. It says, this is my Father forever. The name here referred to is that which immediately precedes YHWH, which goes back into the word Yehovah. If you're using the mixture language, which again the vowels which we read was added in the 8th century BC. If you're using that language, or even further forward, you could say his name is Yehovah, which YEHOWAH. The E and the O is a part of the vowel that was added in. We can agree on that, right? But if you remove the vowels that was added in, you get, so like back in Tetsalaki, I get a call, right? It says, again, if you could remove the E and the O, which are vowel points to the original, to vowel points added into the actual language, as mentioned, you would get Yahawa, because, again, no use for a reason, because it wasn't used for names. It was used as syllables. Remember that. Is literally used as syllables. Is a back-rounded sound used for syllables. Did we not read that? So let's continue. So the YHWH is accurate, but the name Yahweh is inaccurate because the vowel points being added in to languages in the 8th century. Remember that, BC. So that means that the original language would have had to went back concerning the consonant letters, which we can gather here because it was in writing, and there's even a guy. Let's get that information immediately to show. This is again. You see which part we at. You see which part we at, right? Let's go back into the non-biased conclusion. Non-biased conclusion right here. See that? We can see that, right? Can we see this? Good. Let's go back a little bit. 2. There's a guy here which pronounced the name because he, as many other Edomites, searched
right into
out
that.
to get the information so that they could then what? Either use it against as a weapon, or keep it in hiding, which we proved in the last lesson concerning the Gentiles and what they did as part of keeping us in a lower state by changing the names and hiding the names, our identity, and all the other things. So you see how that lesson could link to this lesson, because it's for those who listen or watch that lesson, you could see proof as to why we now had to get the name back, starting with the consonant letters and the information. Now, let's read.
This is somewhere along the line. At what point? It looks like he continued to write. Not to take up. Not to uphold. Et, down here, that's missing. The aleph is gone. The ta is there. Et Shem. Yahweh. The name of ta is there. Et Shem Yahweh.
Notice the sound, the slide, the nice Yahweh. Yahweh. Not Yehovah. Yahweh.
The name of the Lord.
Which literally agrees with the consonant letters that was given, which is how you know they did their research. It is going to the Hebrew alphabet in ancient text. Kal, Ya, Ta, Ka, Za, Wa, Ha, Da, Ga, Ba, A, Tha, Sha, Ra, Ka, Taza, Pa, I, Sa, Na, Ma, La. We see that so far. Now going to the modern, you see you have the same language, but you have it in the modern Assyrian or Aramaic Hebrew in a square text, basically. It's called square text. And when you look at the word wa, there's an I, which was mentioned in the same information we was reading. The wa, W-A-W, was written as the I in the consonant letters that was mentioned back then. That was during the 4000 BC, I believe. That is within when it was changed, when the letters was already changed or changing. We have the wa in the same Y alphabet, which is mentioned also the backdating in the ancient Hebrew alphabet, which we saw. See that? No lie, number 1, wa up there, wa below. No lie, no lie. So far, historically proven, so far accurate, so far. So, in hindsight, in other words, the consonant letters that is being as was wa and ya and all these things, we can find the name simply when you go back into the we will get just now. Let me read this fast. We'll get just now. It says let me go back to it. It says, so you notice the Yahweh is not his actual translation, right? But if you backdate into the English letters, you would have Yahweh as proven so far, which we translate Lord. So they change that name into another, which is Yehovah, retranslate, and then translate again, or transliteration, which is Lord, Lord, the name by which power had been known from the creation of the world. It gives a precept, Genesis 2 and 2, and by which he is known to the present day, Yahweh, the YHWH, which precedes Yahweh. It says from HWH, Hawa, so it gives you the accurate point in the HWH, but as soon as you add the Y, the letters change. This is how you know that the scholars know this. This is how you know the scholars already understand what the name is, which is why you have that same guy who have searched things out. That's their purpose. Well, that's what they do. Could tell you on the stone, literally, that his name, as it reads back from left to right, which is exactly how it's supposed to be read, Yahweh. I mean, from right to left, Salak. From right to left, not left to right. Right to left, Yahweh. This is how we know. It says, it goes, he who is, or he who or subsists, eminently in the manner superior to all other beings, and is essentially the same with, again, Ahawa, which I don't know, that we do waste time with them. That is, we do waste time with that kind. This is where it try to go a lot of, right? I mean, in definition of it, I am, but we need to have most of our titles, but we know that. So let's go back into the point we're trying to get, which is in the interlinear. Here's the point. When you go into the word Lord, it gives you the square text alphabet, which is on top here, which you could go right below here, make it even better. Let's see if I could which you could get or grab right there. Right, so let's get that. I wish I could have big up the screen on the Brota Bible to show you all, but Strong's H3062, which is the box, the line, the box, and the hyphen on top. So let's thing on top. So how I'm gonna do? I want to do this. This makes more sense. Put one above the other, and let's grab this so you can see it yourself. Right? It's up here. It's down here. It's all there. Okay. Right. So let's go and find the Y in the modern Hebrew alphabet, which is Yah, not the Y, the little slit, I don't know what it's called, the mini 7, I guess, which is Yah, which you could grab up here, Yah. Then we have to find the Ha, which is the HYHWH, the H which pronounces Ha, which is in the square, the box you see in here, which is our, in other words, our N without the continuation on the side. I just want to see it like that, which is Ha, which you can see here. And then the next one, which goes into the word, like I said, the little I shape or 7 shape, so is Wa, and go back into the H again, Ha, which is agreeable to what we see in Strong's under Strong's. YHWH from right to left. Yahweh, HWH, YHWH, Yahweh, not Yahweh. The E, remember that? These things were added in. So it's not the Yahweh. It's Yahweh. Go back to the consonant letters into the ancient Hebrew alphabet, what they spoke and what was written. It's Yahweh, which was passed down from Noah coming down. It's a Proto-Semitic language, which means the forefathers from before Noah, which we could trace back up, is the ones who passed it down from Adam coming down to us now. And if we could see the same translation, all we have to do is go up. Yes, literally. Right, literally just right, big it up. Let's go up. Same thing. The Z, which we know is the first one, is the Z shape with the little line in the inside right there. Yeah. Then we go on to the Ha, which is the back to front F with an extra line. Then we have the Y shape, which is Wa, which was also shown in the information that was provided. And then you go back into the Ha, which is the back to front F with the extra lining right there. See how it matches well with each other? This is the purpose of edification. This is the purpose of understanding your roots. Because your roots and the information provided, the letters used for the names would have been, well, a core letter or a permanent letter would have been Y, and not Y, no Y, W. So, with that information, I'm sure you understand where I'm going at and where I could, and let me just come out of this right. With that information provided, even with evidence of people speaking it after their critical research, and even after it was mentioned verbatim, let's read it again, to summarize your insight accurately in Proto-Semitic Hebrew ancestors, the W song was prominent in the word roots and functionally original to that lineage. And in Proto-Indo-European or Indo-European ancestors, the U vowel sound was more central to roots, making it functionally original in that lineage. You understand what I'm saying? Though they existed in human speech and they were both functional, LORD, and prominence and differed between those between these ancestral languages, we know which one was original to which, and which one was not original to which. It's as simple as you can get it. Though they are there, we know which one was added, we know which one was original too. And that is why I sent this information was here. This chart was here originally, so you could see which one is which. The Afro-Asiatic was W, the Proto-Indo-European was W written or U, and then the Proto-Semitic later in 4000 BC was WAW with the Y symbol, which you can get back right here. Let me get back again. No, it was right there. The Y symbol, which you could grab right here. Either this one, which is shown, or this one, which is still shown. Righty. So I hope this information to you is clear so that you don't make mistakes like that again. Let me get a precept as we're here. You know the meme where the guys say, so we didn't learn. We didn't learn. Y'all need to learn. Y'all need to learn. Because according to prophecies, let's read that. Isaiah 19, we should get multiple times. Isaiah 19 and verses 16. It says what? In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of Yahweh of hosts, which had shaketh over it. So they will be in fear. And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Every one that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself because of the counsel of Yahweh of hosts, which he had determined against it. It says, in that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt, which we know to be Babylon the Great, speak the language of Canaan, and swear to Yahweh of hosts, one shall be called the city of destruction, which we are doing today. You have prophets, we call them, so many of us them call us prophets of doom. There are prophets, which is true prophets that have the sound doctrines that comes out, brings the truth unto you, warn you what's going to come, and even put curses on these and the wicked nations, aiding and speeding up the destruction of Babylon the Great, aka America, or as we know when you go into Revelations, which we went to before, aka Sodom and Egypt because of their characteristics like them. It says, and their dead bodies shall lie in the great city, and which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt. And we know many of our people in that region are dead, as literally as dry bones. Plenty has been awakened up, but many of them still stuck in their wicked ways, professing to do wicked things and not professing to be Yahweh Shemashai's people, even when proven. They are in a state of darkness. And it says, shall in lie in the city which of the great city which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, because of their laws and legislations and their practices, which was very similar to Sodom and Egypt, like sodomy, like all these wicked acts, like even worships of the idols of Egypt. Even again, there's nothing you could say that prove that comes against that. So in that time, we are going to be speaking the language of the Canaan, which our scriptures made clear. Let's go to Zephaniah chapter 3 and verses 8. See the connection? And says, and verse 9 says, then I will turn to the people a pure language. Ooh. That they may all call upon the name of Yahweh to serve him with one consent. Let me get one precept. Let me get the precept back, dealing with Isaiah 19 and verses 19, I believe. 1918, Salak. Where it says, right? It says, in that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of the Canaan and swear to Yahweh. So the only reason why Yahweh would be understanding that is because what? That's the language that he gave from the beginning. That Hebrew, that ancient Hebrew. Language of the Canaan, and swear to Yahweh of hosts, one shall be called the city of destruction. NLT, in that day of Egypt, on that day 5 of Egypt's cities will follow Yahweh, the heavens army. Yahweh of the heavens army, the Lord of the heavens army, they will even begin to speak Hebrew language, the language of Canaan. One of these cities will be Heliopolis, Salak, the city of the sun. See? Now let's get a definition for the language. I mean, it already identified, but we need to get to see for yourself. I believe it's this one. Is sorry. No, not this one. This one. Is it this? There was a continuation for that, I believe. But regardless, it does go into it says what? And they will even begin to speak Hebrew, which we have going on today. We have many people speaking what? Hebrew. And not no Yiddish Hebrew, but goes back into the ancient Hebrew, which is why I brought the information on this one. Let me get that back, Salak. There was Zephaniah chapter 3 verses 9. That is the pure language. Even Yahweh Shai spoke to Paul in pure Hebrew. Literally. That's the pure language that's given to our ancestors and that we are speaking today. Which is why, in identifying who we serve, what do we first start with when we are greeting our brothers, or when we are starting a lesson, to show who we are stands for? All honor, all glory, and all praises, or Kal Halal Yam Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. Not Yahuwah, Yahusha. That's not part of the original language. It's not prominent for its names or the roots. Stop trying to add these things in. We see that these vowels were added in the Phoenician script. Stop trying to add these in the 8th century. Stop trying to add these things as part of our original language. It was never part, only a syllable. What is a syllable? That's the next thing for y'all. What is a syllable? Let's get into the definition with syllable. Okay, if I can spell it properly. S-Y-L. Syllable. Boy. I think that's syllable, right? Correct. A syllable. Oh, there it is. Syllable. A union of human speech which often forms words corresponding to one opening of the mouth or a vowel, and it surrounds a consonant. Right. A small part of a sentence or discourse, anything concise or short. Concise or short. In other words, it was not used for names. So you know what it is now. All right, let's get. This is why you have to find the true people who are preaching the correct doctrine. It's not for everybody. What scripture says? Amos chapter 3 and verses 7. It says what? Surely Yahweh power will do nothing, but he revealed his secret unto his servants the prophets. These secrets are for his servants the prophets. And if by now it is impossible for you to understand or grasp, after so many brothers have went through this, and even I myself had made sure to go in a little bit more to show you the understanding of it, and you still can't get it or haven't applied faith, because we got a precept, Hebrews 12, faith, Hebrews 12, it's 12 or 13. No, that's it. It wasn't 12, Hebrews 12 and 1. My faith, what's that mean, faith? You must get it here. Can't miss it. New Testament. I can't miss it here. Must get it here, man. If the bypass it here, something wrong with something wrong. Hebrews, it was not Hebrews. Is Hebrews 12, right? I can't. Okay, but we have our next definition. We bypass everything already. Oh boy. Yeah, I could be wrong. It could be above. No, it's not. I sure it's Hebrew 12, you know. Is Hebrew 11? Nope. Slovakia. No, it was a definition. Let's go back. Hebrews 12 and 2. Hebrews 12. Nope. Slovakia, Slovakia. I guess you gotta go back by faith. Wait, there's Hebrew 11. Okay. This is the precept I'm looking for. Why are you thinking Hebrew 12? It's Hebrew 11. Salakia, it says, now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. For by it the elders obtained a good report. Through faith we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of power, so that things which are seen were not made of things which do appear. So if you aren't applying faith in Yahweh Bashim Yoshai, you would not be able to grasp this, because the Paleo script is an object of the 22 consonant letters, which we just read. Let's go back into it. I'm not going to go into about showing you, counting it for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That's good. Understand what I'm saying? Because which is a pure language, exactly as the Canaanite scripts from the period when they go into let me get the Canaanite scripts. ChatGPT could get pulled up from it too, you know. More pause again. Let's get it. It says what? Back into it again. Paleo-Hebrew script is indeed an early Semitic script used to write Hebrew before the adoption of the square Aramaic script, which later became classical Hebrew alphabet, which we have shown in both parts, the ancient Paleo-Hebrew and the Aramaic square text. All right, here's a precise summary. A number of letters which are of Paleo, like other Canaanite scripts, consist of 22 letters, all consonant. This is the type of early Semitic alphabet. They did not originally have symbols for vowels. One more time, they did not originally have symbols for what? Vowels. Relations to Canaanite scripts or Paleo-Hebrew is directly descendant from the Phoenician script, which is why I told you it was added in the 8th century. Remember that we read that, right? It is a direct descendant from the Phoenician script, the main Canaanite script of the region. By the 5th century BCE in Judea, Paleo-Hebrew was still in use. It was still using, meaning it was using before, it was still using then. Although the Aramaic square script was gradually replacing it for official documents, especially under Persian influence. So that's when it becomes a more square text style. Time period Paleo-Hebrew was used in Israel and Judea roughly at 10th century BCE, way before, until the 5th century BCE. Remember, 10th century, way before. Remember, the vowels, the O, especially the O, E, and U, was added in the 8th century. Remember that. And now the 5th century, this is until the 5th century, but inscriptions in the scripts are especially common in the 8th and 6th century. BCE. After the Babylonian exile, the 6th century BCE, Jews increasingly use Amharic script for writing Hebrew. It already began to change. Even the vowel points was added in the 8th century. So again, more and more, let's keep going. Characteristics, each letter corresponds to a consonant sound. There were no distinct vowel letters in the original system. It says though later diacritical systems or adaptations allowed for vowels. So your statement is largely correct, Paleo-Hebrew. Correct, 100%. So more and more we have proved yet and yet, time and time again. Let me screenshot this part so y'all can know. Y'all know this in Ireland this go. There are two things I learned going on. You realize, those who know who I am, I don't stop. I keep digging. The reason why is to prove more and more. So you can't even now. You couldn't even go back you couldn't even go back to the 9000 BCE. You can't go back 10th century. You can't even go back to say the U was created before the W now. So what is your new argument? If you can't say that the O, E, and U was original to the ancient Hebrew alphabet and it wasn't added in, you can't say that now. You can't say that it wasn't an original language of the Indo-Europeans, the U especially. You cannot say that it was not, because it was. And you can't say that the W wasn't used for names, specifically for names and roots, and the U was used for syllables. Now you cannot say that, because you can't say that what I'm saying is not true. So then what else do you have to say? Let me hear is a new argument. If you're not applying faith and you're not coming under the right teachings, you are going to be off by a mile. As simple as the language could detour your whole doctrine to be false. False name, false speaking, false understanding. Then you go into what? A false belief in what is really mentioned to happen. So the whole system that you're bringing upon yourself is now very much false. And we show you how the name is easily given. It's direct. So I hope this information is clear to you. I hope this information is very much clear to you. And I hope this information is very edifying as well. Because in the end, we still bring out some receipts that is going to be used to show. That is why we went into the historical parts, showing what these things was added in, what was there, what wasn't there, what was for which group, what wasn't for which group. So you could now know that your language that you're speaking, which has E, O, and U in them, is not an original aspect of the Hebrew ancestor speaking of verbal or vowels. Not vowels or consonant letters, not vowels. And it was a more original to Indo-European vowel points, PIE. So I hope that again, Shalom Yasharala, Kal Halaliam Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakakwadash. We give that belongs to the apostles and prophets and elders of GMS Camp, but to us great millstone for the before the 100% truth that have been currently edified under. Shalom to the elect, Tabernacle of David, and Aaron Bright Zariah saying to you, Shalom.